Hey guys, Tatiana Ward here. I did film a tutorial for this look. If it's not out yet, it will be. And if it's already available, I'll link it somewhere in this video. This is a topic that I have been wanting to talk to you guys about since the beginning. Like I literally gave birth and was like, I can't wait to talk to them about this. First of all, motherhood in general is something that I've wanted to talk to you guys about. It's a journey that so many of you have been on. Some of my followers, I've watched your kids grow up and totally live vicariously through you. And now that I have my own, it's just like, I'm so excited and thankful to be able to go on the journey with you guys. Finally, I can be included in the motherhood. And no, it's not the way I planned it, but it's exactly the way it's supposed to be. It's like the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. I wish Maya could be in this video, but she's asleep right now. It's like 11 o'clock at night. But you could probably see the darkness under my eyes, even through this makeup, because we're teething now. We're teething now, and we have two toofuses. She's taking it like a champ, but she is a little moody. Anyway, yeah, it's going awesome. Not having her father around is very difficult, and it's not just like, you know, he's in a different household. I mean, he's literally not around. We speak every day, multiple times a day. He gets to see her regularly. But, you know, it's not like having him physically present or even in the vicinity. And that does make things difficult. But my tribe, especially my mom and my dad, have really stepped up. And I'm not doing this alone. So I'm super blessed. My girlfriends, Maya's aunts, everybody is Team Maya. So I'm doing okay, we're doing okay. But what I really wanted to talk about in this video is breastfeeding. I wanted to share my breastfeeding journey. So I immediately knew that I wanted to breastfeed. I wanted that experience. I wanted that connection. I wanted to put my flabby boobs to good use finally. I always had this like hate, not even love, hate relationship with my boobs. So to finally, you know, use them for the way the good Lord intended them to be used was exciting to me. And I know that breastfeeding is a really, really, really deeply personal decision. And especially now after going through the journey of breastfeeding, I completely understand why some women would choose not to. And they say that a fed baby is a healthy baby and a happy baby, and that's so true. You know, I just personally wanted that experience. When my air first came, she took to the boob like a fish in water. I mean, it was like she latched wonderfully and everything was awesome. That was in the first few hours. And then we realized that it was just not coming and flowing the way it looked. So she screamed for like the first night that she was out of the womb. It was just like a nightmare. And my girlfriend sat with me the whole night until we finally determined she wasn't getting enough milk, and we had to give her formula, which was kind of heartbreaking because you automatically feel like there's something wrong with me. Even though you know, they try to prepare you for that, it's just like there's something wrong with me. But then I heard enough and I read enough and people told me enough, don't worry, the milk will come. So by like the second or third day that we were home from the hospital, my boobs were out to here. Nothing could have prepared me for how big or rock hard my boobs would be. And that's how they looked. They looked Anna Nicole implant big. Anyway, so initially I had the pump that my doctor gave to me. My insurance covered. So it's this thing with all the cords. And then you attach this thing to your boobs. And then you attach this thing and the milk gets sucked out from here and goes into the bottle, okay? And I was filling these suckers up like 6 a day. And I had it in my head that I was gonna freeze some, deep freeze it, keep it for months, keep it for in the event that she gets ear infections, and I had big plans for my milk production. And for like the first month, I was able to maintain that 6 bottles a day. And then somehow, some way, it just stopped. And I think it's safe to say that it's obviously with her father and everything that's going on with her dad, it was a very, very stressful time. And I'm asking my doctor, why did my milk stop coming in? And he's like, listen, it's just that way for some people. Make sure that not only are you pumping, but make sure that you're breastfeeding also. And I was pumping and breastfeeding. My diet was not the greatest, but I really think that it was just stress. So then I started thinking, well, if I wasn't hooked up to this stupid machine all the time pumping, then maybe I would be less stressed out about it, and maybe I would be able to pump more, because they say if you pump more, it'll jog your mind and your body to think you need to produce more because your baby is eating more. I call myself being attached to this thing. I swear to you, it felt like 24/7. I was attached to this thing. You're like stationary. When you're attached to this contraption, you're stationary. So then at some point, I'm like, I'm attached to this machine all the time and it's stressing me out. So maybe that's why my milk is dwindling. During all of this, my milk is continuing to dwindle. And that alone will stress you out. And they say the biggest thing that can stop your milk production is stress and diet. Well, I was stressed to the max. I was frequenting Maryland to do Real Housewives of Potomac. Karen Huger is a great client of mine, and I have to stop and I have to go hook myself up to cords and I have to take a time out because I have to pump. And it was just like that experience alone. I now know why some women on their second, third baby are like, hell no, I'm not doing that. So I get it in my head. Once I find out that there are cordless pumps, I say, oh, I'm doing that. So this is the Willow pump. There's other brands that make cordless pumps, but as you can imagine, it's an insert that goes into your bra, and it's exactly what you think it is. Like, incredible. It's incredible. So you stick your nipple in there, you press a button, and the milk sucks out, and this thing goes into your bra. There is no cord. The thing is $500. Would I say that it's worth that? Absolutely. I could be on the job and no one would know that I was pumping. There was no timeout. I didn't have to time out. It stops itself. It knows when too much milk is in there and it stops itself so you don't leak. It's a really amazing invention. It did not jog my milk production though. And it was not just a one-time investment of $500. You have to purchase the bags that go with it. This is what the bag looks like. It goes into the contraption and your milk fills in this circle. They are not reusable. So if you're storing milk, if you're producing enough that you have an overstock and you're gonna freeze it, you are going to have to buy the bags, and the bags aren't cheap. It is worth the investment if you're producing enough and if you're working and can't sit still. And even if you can sit still, if you want to be able to clean your bathroom while your baby is sleeping and pump, it's worth it. Like I said, Willow is not the only brand that makes them. I didn't try any of the others, but part of me wanted to blame, like, oh, the machine isn't working because I don't know why, but my milk was dwindling, so I can't really say that it was the machine. I don't know. But I hear a lot of people have success with it. I don't know. Anyway, after like 3 months, I was pumping and I was getting nothing. I had gone through all of the frozen bags that I had produced for my air, and I had to just make the really tough decision to hang it up. I went through my last bag of frozen milk, and I'm telling you, it was like a teary day. Like, that connection with your child is just amazing. To know, it's super empowering that you are feeding your child from your own body. You can't argue with the fact that it's the best thing for them nutritionally, but I couldn't do it anymore. And in a way, I was glad too, because it was messing with my psyche. I put on more weight after giving birth because breastfeeding made me ravenously hungry. I don't know who's losing weight by breastfeeding, but it was not me. I gained so much weight. And it makes sense. I mean, the woman who's breastfeeding is burning a lot more calories, therefore she's hungry more. Anyway, the breastfeeding journey did not go as planned, but my air is developing right on target. I'm super glad that for the 3 months that I did breastfeed, I was able to get through it. I'm super jealous when I hear women saying that they're still breastfeeding, because if I could have been, I would have been, even though it was messing with me psychologically. But I've struggled with my weight since before I ever got pregnant. So gaining weight for me in general is traumatic. I didn't want to make this like long story or anything. I just kind of wanted to touch on breastfeeding and encourage the women who are deciding to do it or don't know much about it or making the tough decision to not breastfeed or continue to breastfeed. You know, it's a thing. It's a real thing. It's a real job, breastfeeding. It is absolutely a labor of love. But if I did have another baby, I would definitely breastfeed again. But just like every move that I made, from work to everything, I was carrying around a cooler so that I could pump, so that I could keep my milk chilled. Everything, every move I made was based around pumping and feeding. As difficult and life-altering as it is to have a baby, it's also like way life-altering to have a baby hanging from your boob all day. But I would still do it again. Do you guys have questions about breastfeeding? I only did it for 3 months, but it took over my whole life for that 3 months, so I know a thing or two about it. I should say that as I began to wean Maya, she didn't seem to miss it at all, which was also heartbreaking, because it's like I was in tears and she was like, okay, cool, where's the bottle? I began by taking, when I knew that the frozen milk was running out, I still was pumping to the last day. I was still trying to pump. I would have this thing in my bra and I would have it in there for 30 minutes and get nothing. It was like super depressing. But I was taking the frozen milk and mixing it with formula. I tried like 3 different formulas before settling on one, and then I had to talk with my doctor, and my doctor was like, listen, all that shit is the same. And it's hard to believe because, you know, I was paying top dollar for like the best. And then to hear him be like, I mean, that's nice and all, but it's really all the same thing. They all have to have the same thing in order to be passed by the FDA. So it's either, the way he explained it was like, it's either breast milk or formula. Breast milk is the best thing that you can give your baby possible. And then everything else is just formula, which is really good too. It ain't breast milk, but they're all the same. After breast milk, everything is the same. So once he said that, I stopped paying a ton of money and just settled on something that I felt more comfortable with. And now, as of last week, she's 6 months old, and we are venturing into solids. She's been on solids now for a while though. Like, she's eating more and more solids, vegetables and cereal. And like I said, we have teeth coming in. And I was planning on breastfeeding through teeth. Like, if I had it my way, I would have gone until she weaned herself. I don't think I would have had a toddler and been breastfeeding, but I would have revisited when I wanted to stop at 1. So yeah, that's that. What can I talk about on the mommy tip? Because I want to talk about the mommy tip, and I also want you guys' input because I'm very new to this. I just can't tell you how much it meant to me to have you guys along the way. Like, in my DMs telling me your experiences was huge. But yeah, anyway, I want to talk more about mommy stuff. Certain things really stand out to me. Breastfeeding was one of them, just to give you guys a little insight into my breastfeeding journey. But what else do you guys want to know? What other kind of videos should I make and talk about? And kind of at a loss because I've never really watched too many mommy videos. So maybe I should watch some mom videos so that I know like what other people are doing so I could talk more about it. But I'd rather just hear it from the horse's mouth what you want to hear. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I hope that this was helpful or encouraged some of you or made you feel less alone in this breastfeeding journey that's a beautiful journey, but also a very difficult one at times. Make sure that you like and subscribe to my channel. I appreciate you guys for watching and listening to me ramble. And I will see you right back here real soon. Bye.